I always find it a bit odd that when we talk about reasons why we should leave Iraq, when we enumerate the suffering of the Iraqis, and that's a reason to leave. I think by any calculation, if we leave that country, we're going to see slaughter in that region, which we are in part responsible for. I think it would be a mistake to believe that the Americans are innocent in this process. One of the reasons that things have gotten so bad in Iraq is because we had generals that sounded as if they'd gone to the New School of Social Research and not, in fact, to a military academy. I mean, General John Abizaid kept telling us that we were going to have a light footprint approach in Iraq, that, in fact, we are not going to put very many troops on the ground, and that we're going to allow the Iraqis to come forward. Well, what that resulted in fact, was the slaughter of a good many Iraqis, primarily Shia, and the radicalization of that community. And what we are attempting to do now is, in fact, correct those mistakes. Now, I think you can do that. Now, I would also add that the notion that al-Qaida is a sideshow in Iraq just bedevils me. I mean, what al-Qaida has done there, and that includes both foreign and Iraqi elements. Let's not make al-Qaida just into a foreign body. It is both. All right? What it has done, it has helped radicalize the Sunni community. It has seriously radicalized the Iraqi Shia community. That has been an enormous factor in the difficulties of trying to reach some type of modus vivendi inside of that country. Now, I think it is likely we can do that, but we are going to have to take care of al-Qaida. And certainly the notion that by abandoning that country that somehow al-Qaida is going to disappear, I think I do not understand that. If we lose there, I guarantee you, you can already see it in al-Qaeda literature. They are talking about victory in Iraq the same way they talked about victory in Afghanistan. You cannot win these things. You cannot hope to deflate Islamic extremism by losing. The presence in the United States, though aggravating to many Muslim fundamentalists, is certainly, I would argue, less of a problem than, in fact, the United States fleeing the country and allowing that country to go a tailspin into massive internecine violence. Also, what is important to remember, you cannot deal with that country unless you are willing to actually deal with the Iranian threat. Now, what the Iranians are doing inside of Iraq is they're radicalizing it. Their objective is to recreate the circumstances that gave birth to the Hezbollah in Lebanon. They want, in fact, the more radical it becomes, the more they can take advantage of it. And what they are doing inside of the country, and I speak very frankly about it, they're killing American soldiers. They are not killing American soldiers because they want to see stability in the country. An operating principle of the Iraq Study Group was that, in fact, Iran had become a status quo power, and that they really wanted to see stability in the country. Wrong. What they are doing in the country, they have a perfect storm there for them. They are trying, one, to make Americans bleed. They're trying to kill Americans. They're trying to kill the Iraqi Sunnis, and they're also trying to kill the Iraqi Shia, who, by the way, did not stand up for them during the Iran-Iraq War. They are trying to make the circumstances, which we now are looking down south, where they're trying to fuel internecine conflict. If we leave, it is bound to happen. Now, these are the negatives that are going to happen, that you are going to add jet fuel to Islamic extremism on the Sunni side, that you are going to add jet fuel to the extremism on the Shiite side. But also you should have hope. I mean, I disagree very strongly with Jessica. I think the Iraqis have actually done a reasonably decent job in the time that's been allotted to them, given the huge violence that has taken place in that country. Much of that violence because, in fact, we chose not to have a counterinsurgency strategy. We now have one. I mean, General Petraeus is, in fact, attempting to put into place a counterinsurgency strategy that makes sense. It has the potential for checking al-Qaeda. It has the potential for protecting the Iraqi Shia community from the radicalizing efforts of the Iranians, to give them space to breathe. Now, are we going to do this on a time frame of a year? No. I mean, the real truth of the matter is the Americans are going to be in Iraq for a long time. I would argue it's a good thing. It was a good thing that the Americans were in Korea for a long time. It's a good thing that the Americans extended defense pact to the Taiwanese. It's a good thing. The possibilities and benefits of the Iraqi society actually righting itself and developing a reasonably decent democratic system are still there. The thing to remember most on Iraq is that the Iraqi Shia community hasn't backed down from the democratic promise. You cannot find the Iraqi, even the extremists, arguing that they need to have a clerical dictatorship, they need to have some type of Shiite strongman. They are still pledging themselves to the possibilities of democracy, and we really shouldn't give up.